and welcome to another episode of Adventures in Movies looks at ... This week I'm joined by the hosts of Adventures in Movies, Danny and Blake.
Hello.
And
Hello.
this week we will be looking at Driveways. Driveways is a drama about a young boy named Cody who's spending the summer with his mother, cleaning out the home of their recently deceased aunt. They're about to sell the house, so they have to clean it out. Cody, it's hinted at he has trouble making friends with others. However, with other kids. However, he's able to make friends with his next door neighbor, who's a Korean veteran. This sparks a very unlikely friendship. So, Driveways. Brian Dennehy is in it. One of his last performances. What do you guys think about his performance?
Fucking great. Oh, it's freaking great.
I think we could say the F word.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure it's because it's YouTube. It's fucking great. It's one of his best performances.
I would agree. It was really good. It was. He had a. I hadn't seen him in a while, and it was good to see him. It was kind of reminded me what a good actor he is. He was quite good.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a while, actually. And I think, Blake, you and I talked about it maybe right after the movie. We were talking about the importance of characters in any sort of movie like this where it deals with friendships and it's kind of a little more patient. I thought his performance was awesome because based off the premise, it's, just, a blanket description of it's kind of generic. Little boy can't meet friends. He's Korean or Chinese. I believe they're Korean, they say. He meets a Korean War veteran. So immediately you think like, okay, he's going to have to overcome his racism so they can, find out. And it's nothing like that whatsoever.
Not at all.
No.
And I think it works so much because it is kind of it can be a corny story. I think it works because of Brian Dennehy.
I would agree. All the acting in it was, I thought, very good. It was kind of it had to be. Those actors had to be good and make those characters believable. And good emotion and it covered a lot of ground really, and a lot of different subjects that kind of plucked at all the heartstrings, in different ways.
Yeah, it did, and I feel like when it plucked at the heartstrings, I think obviously that's where the show, like the movie, showed itself, like with acting. But I feel like Dennehy and the little boy, I don't remember his name, Cody.
Cody.
They meshed really well, especially towards the end of the movie. There's this monologue where he's just explaining his life, I guess, and
Right.
he kind of like shrugs it off, and it's very good. It's very believable. It's really good acting, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm here. Like, this whole movie was just made in like 10 seconds with a shrug, and he's like, you don't want to hear it type of story, but then he goes on to explain the story, and it's just it's very unexpected. And yeah, I guess this movie could have gone in a corny direction, and I'm very glad it didn't go that route. It didn't go that route.
So what did you think of the movie? So you said it was kind of unexpected, and it made the movie. What did you think of the movie before his
I loved
monologue?
it. I loved it. I just feel like that performance, it was just very natural. Like it was just a natural conversation, something that we have a conversation. Blake does it very well. I think when he converses with us, telling stories, it's very natural. And I feel that I guess you have to know us personally to see this happen. But when Blake is telling
don't listen to the podcast. It does not sound natural.
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Not really
yeah, no. I guess because he also has like movement and everything that you could see, and it's very, very, very just that monologue was just very natural. Not saying that the movie wasn't natural at all, but that is just the glue that just put it all together for me.
Yeah, it's very moving, very powerful. Because the rest of the movie, and like you said, it's not to put down the rest of the movie, but it's very slow, very methodical, and the movie is all about the little moments, like the handmade birthday invitation, them eating pizza, like his mother and Cody and his mother. That was like a really big important part of the movie, but nothing's happening at all. Blake, you touched on some of the themes. Like I think one of the best things about the movie is how simple it is, but it touches on so many themes. Like, what's one of the themes that stood out the most for you?
Just the idea of getting older, and you kind of blink your eyes, and 40 years has passed by. He mentions that. I've heard. He actually reminded me a lot of my dad, and I've heard my dad say stuff like that, like recently, and it's like similar age, in the 70s. And yeah, I was like, yeah, he was, well, like you said, totally believable. And there's a moment when he's with he has like his little bingo buddies that they meet down at the foreign wars? Yeah,
VFW.
veterans of foreign wars. Um, and where they go to the grocery store, and his friend is obviously starting to suffer from like dementia or Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, yeah.
Yeah, and again, something I related, personally on a personal level with, and yeah, they did it in such a believable way and a natural way. I think that's going to come up a lot, probably in this review. It's a very natural movie. The conversations were natural. It flowed very well, and that's definitely one of the things that stood out to me.
Absolutely, and the friend Jerry Adler is the actor. When
Right.
he's experiencing the dementia, but he can still recite his favorite poem. Again, very simple,
Yeah.
but I
Right.
thought that part was not over the top, but it really gets to you. Along with the simple moments and the natural moments, there's tinges of subtle racism in it.
Yeah.
And what I enjoyed about those is it's really easy to take that stuff over the top. Like, it's very easy to make these big, like, here's this big moment where you find out they're racist, but it never does that. Like, and well, I mean, I'll just echo you guys. It's very natural. And things are just happening, and people are just people. Like, is
Right.
essentially what the
Yeah,
movie. So,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
The neighbor part was where people are being people essentially, and you get
Oh,
that little
yeah.
off the cuff conversation, and you're just like, oh, that's right, people are this, they could be like this, or it's like a small glimpse of whatever this world is, and it's again
It was cool.
natural.
It did
Yeah.
a cool thing because it touched on like almost every time in your life. Like you can relate to maybe the kid being a little bit of an outcast, and then maybe you can relate to the mom who's kind of going through her own stuff with,
Mhm.
a sibling who just died, and then maybe you can relate too with the elderly gentleman across across the driveway, and it did such a great job. I mean, I was so pleasantly surprised by this movie. Again, I'm enjoying not knowing what to think going into these things, and again, this was such a pleasant surprise.
I think pleasant surprise was, and Danny, you expected an unexpected direction. I think that's a great way to describe the movie because you read a synopsis or you read a sentence or two and you're like, oh man, it's one of those kinds of movies.
Gran
And
Torino.
exactly,
Yeah.
I actually thought it would be a watered down Gran Torino. That's absolutely was what I was expecting, and they're not in the same. Aside from a very general shell, they're nothing alike at
Right.
all. Um, we talked a lot about Brian Dennehy and the past and the natural feel of the movie. It's very sad too, very sad,
It
and not
is.
just for the story. Like, did you guys think it was a little hard to watch Brian Dennehy?
The way he
I
like moved and stuff.
his movements,
Oh
he
yeah.
almost nearing the end of his life. And not, I don't mean in real life. He didn't seem sick or anything, but
No, no, no. Right.
the
I
character,
I I don't know. I feel like I guess like we all have grandparents and everything around that were at that age, and I feel it just added the character
right.
for it. So it wasn't as hard. I just felt a little bit more concerned. I guess like just like if it was one of my like family members, I'm like, you gotta
Yeah.
take it easy a little bit here,
Right.
and
Like, where's your cane, Brian? Where's your cane? Why do you not have your cane?
yeah, something like that. Exactly, something like that. I did get worried, but I was like, it's just This is where his life is now.
Right.
It's something so stupid. I'm so sorry. It's very just natural that this whole thing just went through it, and I feel
It's
like this movie, you just get this guy's last chapter essentially.
I think it's and yeah, we keep repeating ourselves and echoing ourselves, using the same words over and over again. There's only so many synonyms for natural, and I don't have a thesaurus in front of me anyway. But the movie it's
You
very
don't?
realistic. it's easy to relate to, like Blake said. But I think it's interesting, Danny, that you said that not so much sad, but you're kind of like concerned, like you would be for someone in your life. And it's very hard for a movie to do that. Even something as grounded in reality as this, it's still really hard for a movie to make you like really almost on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah.
You're able to relate to it. And yeah, this movie for me, I did feel a little like watching him move around. I love that I like the friendship and how it wasn't like he had to overcome his perceptions of this little boy. He was just like, I'm gonna make friends with him. this
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
is just
And
it.
it's a very they do a very believable thing at the end that is that kind of like reinforces that he really does care a lot about this little kid, and it was cool. Yeah.
I thought so too. Like it's a very predictable the way this story
It's
goes. It's
also-
gonna go. It's going in that direction. The minute they become friends, you know where it's gonna end. But
Yeah.
okay, so Blake, you like the way that I also thought it was played very tenderly. It's very intimate.
Yeah.
It's possibly tear jerking, but it's not manipulative with the emotions.
No, nothing
Oh.
at all.
So we were talking a lot about the story and the characters, but direction. What did you guys think? Andrew Ahn was the director. What did you guys think of the direction of the movie?
It was good. It was good. I know this is a very. It was. We were kind of hesitant to, or I guess I was hesitant to answer. I liked it. Some shots were really well, especially I think it was in a supermarket, and the same thing with the veteran, the VF, VF, yeah. Like the whole like the little sets that we get, they played really well. Because you get when we find out that the best friend has dementia, we follow it through like in a weird like point of vision of Dennehy's character, and I really like that. And then we get like when we have the pizza party at the bingo hall. I feel like it's kind of like a white shot, and it's just introducing this foreign land to the mom and to the little boy. I really like that a lot. There was like small shots that played really well to the people's acting.
No, I agree. I thought the direction was overall pretty good. Again, part of the whole surprise of this thing being such an enjoyable film is that it was well directed. The cinematography was good. I would say good. There were some really beautiful shots in there mixed in there with all this stuff. And yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I was totally surprised by this thing on a lot of levels, for real.
To me, the word that came to mind to me was refreshing. Because
Yeah.
even with smaller budget movies, you have the special effects, you have the explosions, or the
We love.
and that's cool. It's really cool to look at. We love the movies for that. But this movie is very toned down. It's very, it's literally in some houses, a library, a bingo hall, and a VFW, or a roller rink. That's it. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, there's no big, and you don't really see that nowadays. There's at least one big set piece, and it was kind of nice to see something that was scaled back and intimate and kind of went with the natural flow of this story.
Totally.
Final thoughts, Danny. What are your final thoughts on Driveways?
I think we've had 3 good movies in a week that we've seen.
I believe you're forgetting Butt Boy. Come on now.
Oh, it's 3 good movies to me. I feel like this might have been the best of the 4, with 499 coming in second. It's just so hard to like I guess rank them that way. But I feel like this is a really good movie, and I think it's available now to rent. Even so, if you have a chance, like after you see this, or probably rent the movie and then see us talk about it, I would highly recommend it. I really enjoyed this movie. It just at the end of it, I just felt happy. Like I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to be feeling at the end of it, but I was like, man, fuck, that was really good. that was really good. Like I really enjoyed it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will say this. It borderlines on the Hallmark movie kind of movie. right? It really is.
It's a
I would
thin
say
line.
it's a very thin line. But this was a very well done one, and the acting was very good. And yeah, I think there's a lot of relatable things. I would say check it out.
I agree with both of you, and yeah, it's a very thin line, and I feel like I say this every week, but it's not going to be for everybody. It absolutely not. You have to have the patience to sit there, and it's a story-driven, character-driven movie. So if you're not into stories and characters, you're forget it. This movie's just not for you. But if you want to see something enjoyable, and I agree with Danny, maybe in a traditional sense, it's not the happiest movie, but I think it will put a smile on your face at the end of the movie. It's very, very much worth your time. Strong performances and great directing. So every week you can check us out here on Adventures in Movies. Looks at ... Danny mentioned 499. I mentioned Butt Boy. Hey, we got The Exorcist in there too. So Exorcist 3. We do it all. So check it out. You can also check out our podcast, Adventures in Movies Looks At, where we ruminated on conspiracy theories for an hour, and you will love it.
Yeah.
Come check it out, and we'll see you next week.
Adios.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hit it! But right now, I'm gonna need you, Tommy boy, to get this place going!
Oh, for me, Dad?
Yeah, you, Tommy boy! Get him!
Dad, I really don't think... Okay.
First rocket, take it, Tommy boy!
Hey, Mama, don't you treat me wrong. Come and love me, baby, all night long.
Testify, Tommy boy, testify!
All right now. Tell me what I say.
Second rocket, me! See the girl with the diamond ring? She knows how to twist that thing! Oh!
That's right, Dad.
Hey!
Come on now, Dad.
All right now!
Tell me what I say.
What did I say? Hit the haze in the hose.